Western Europe, the question is no longer whether Ukraine will get Western fighter jets, but which ones and when. Sweden's Gripen and America's F-35 stand at the center of a geopolitical tug-of-war. Could Kyiv be flying Gripens next, or even the stealthy F-35? Or will coalition politics, logistics, and strategic caution delay these deliveries indefinitely? This isn't just about aircraft. It's a high-stakes chess match involving NATO unity, battlefield urgency, and the future of European defense autonomy. Tune in, because the next fighter to grace Ukraine's skies might just rewrite the rules of the war. As of mid-2025, Ukraine has begun receiving Western fighter jets, F-16s from NATO allies, but the conversation has already shifted to the future. Will Sweden's Gripen jets join the fray? What about the F-35? The discussion is complex. Sweden's Gripens are agile, maintainable, and uniquely suited for Ukraine's rugged environment. But coalition partners have asked Stockholm to delay transfers until F-16s are fully integrated. At the same time, NATO and European nations are increasingly exploring alternatives to US dominance in weapon systems, raising the possibility of homegrown options and even stealth jets for Ukraine. This video peels back the layers, from the politics and strategy to the pilots and the hangars, to examine whether Ukraine might fly Gripens or even F-35 sooner than expected. The Gripen versus F-16 landscape. From the outset, Ukraine asked allies for Western fighters, and Gripen was among them. As early as 2020, Kyiv considered replacing its legacy MiGs and Sukhois with Western 4.5 Gen jets, a mix including Gripen EF or F-16 Block 70-72 by 2035. By July 2022, Defense Minister Reznikov publicly named Gripen as a candidate. Ukrainian pilots even began simulator and flight training on Gripens during visits to Sweden in August 2023. But F-16s quickly took center stage. Sweden's Gripens have real advantages: supercruise capability, advanced EW, electronic warfare tools, low flight hour cost, and the ability to operate from rough airfields, even roads. They're also easier for maintenance, a critical factor in a war-torn nation. Still, F-16s were already in motion. NATO members like Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Norway pledged dozens to Ukraine. The coalition asked Sweden to delay Gripens to avoid duplicating platforms and overwhelming Ukraine's supply and training systems. In November 2024, Swedish Defense Minister Paul Johnson reaffirmed this position. The donation of the Gripens is not in the hands of ourselves. They advised us to wait to donate the Gripen until it goes further with the F-16. By July 2024, Foreign Minister Tobias Billström added that transferring Gripens was Ukraine's call once F-16s are in place, and Stockholm could revisit it later. So, Ukraine prioritized absorbing F-16s first, finding integrating two fighter platforms at once too difficult to manage. In the meantime, Saab offered ASC-890 surveillance aircraft to enhance air coordination instead of Gripens for now. The Chief of Defense, General Eichelstein, echoed that view. Adding Gripens while F-16s are still being introduced doesn't make sense and could strain Ukraine's pilot and logistic pipeline. At the same time, Saab CEO Michael Johansson urged action. In March 2025, he said he hopes Gripens can be delivered sooner rather than later. Starting with Gripen CDs, Ukraine could begin training in Sweden and then move to Gripen E over time, though acknowledging it remains purely a political decision. Could F-35s enter the equation? The F-35 remains the apex Western single-seat stealth multi-role fighter, but it comes with strings attached. Canada's reconsideration of its own F-35 purchase, citing reliance and contingency risks, echo a broader European concern with overdependence on US platforms. Embedded kill switches remain a conspiracy theory, but the need for constant US-controlled upgrades has made some countries rethink the strategic implications of F-35 acquisitions. For Ukraine, though, F-35s are fantasy territory, for now. Its immediate goal is to field functioning jets quickly. Integrating F-16s has been a Herculean process. Introducing the F-35 stealth platforms with separate logistics, sensor fusion systems, and fighter doctrine would be too complex, too soon. Still, as Europe seeks greater defense autonomy, the lack of U.S. dependence opens opportunities for Swedish and other European jets as alternatives to F-35 in future European or Ukrainian force structures. But for Ukraine today, that remains a long-term horizon. Pilots, maintenance, and coalition coordination. At the heart of the debate is practical coordination. Ukraine's Air Force is adapting to Western systems mid-war, with limited resources, spare parts, and maintenance infrastructure. F-16 integration is a massive commitment on its own. Two jets would double the complexity at a time when training capacity is stretched and ammunition supply chains are fragile. The Gripen shines in that landscape. Low maintenance, simple mechanics, and rugged flexibility make it potentially easier to sustain. So once Ukraine stabilizes its F-16 operations, Gripens can serve as a force multiplier, not another burden. On the diplomatic side, coalition unity has guided decisions. NATO allies fear complicated multi-vendor fleets would reduce combat efficiency. Maintaining political coherence, focusing on F-16 standardization now, allows training, logistics, and tactics to proceed without confusion. Strategic and industrial implications for Sweden and Europe. Sweden's Gripen policy reflects its balancing act. Post-2022, Sweden abandoned neutrality and joined NATO, significantly raising defense budgets, projecting a 2.0% GDP defense expenditure in 2024, rising to 2.6% by 2028, backed by a rearmament plan of some 27 billion euros by 2030. By delaying Gripen transfers, Sweden preserves its own force readiness and signals strategic caution. Meanwhile, it continues industrial promotion. Saab is urging Nordic neighbors towards its Global Eyes surveillance aircraft and signaling ambition to export Gripen and other systems for collective defense strategies. Sweden's Gripens have already entered NATO operations. In early 2025, 6 were deployed to Poland for Baltic air policing, an opportunity to demonstrate Gripen's value in collective defense. Long-term, Sweden is also investing in next-generation fighters. The FS-2020 project aims for a stealth-capable jet by 2035, while Gripen E deliveries begin in 2025, expanding Sweden's aerospace export potential. The European Sky Shield for Ukraine concept, an air defense umbrella made up of up to 120 European fighters, F-16s, Gripens, Rafales, and Eurofighters, also makes Gripens part of a multinational strategic architecture. How and when Gripens might join Ukraine's Air Force? Now mid-2025. F-16 integration in progress, Gripen preparation paused at coalition request. Ukraine building logistic base and pilot training pipelines. Mid to late 2025. If F-16 deployment proceeds without major disruptions, Sweden and Ukraine could begin formal talks on Gripen CD deliveries. Saab CEO advocates for early negotiation and pilot training. Late 2025 to early 2026. Possible first delivery of Gripen CDs, allowing progressive introduction into Ukrainian squadrons, especially to relieve F-16 wear and expand fighter coverage. 2026 to 2030. Over time, Gripen E, modernized variant, could be delivered, offering enhanced sensors, EW, and interoperability, but delivery quantity and timing will heavily depend on Sweden's domestic stock and European production schedules. Beyond 2030, new stealth projects, FS-2020, broader European air defense frameworks could reshape Ukraine's long-term Air Force composition. The story of Sweden's Gripen F35 debate for Ukraine isn't just about planes. It's a microcosm of wartime diplomacy, logistics, and strategic alignment. Sweden stands ready, Gripens await, resources ready, political will waiting, but coalition unity and battlefield pragmatism placed F-16s front and center. Now, as F-16s embed in Ukraine's Air Force, the path to Gripen or, even in the long run, F-35 opens. Whether Gripens land in Ukraine within months or years depends on Ukraine's capacity to absorb another airframe type, Sweden's industrial bandwidth, and the urgency of Europe's strategic recalibration. Right now, Gripens hover at the threshold, and soon, they might soar. If you found this deep dive into Sweden's fighter jet chess game compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth, documentary-style analysis on defense tech and geopolitics. Comment below. Do you think Gripens should fly for Ukraine sooner, or should they wait until F-16s are fully integrated? Your insights help shape future discussions, and who knows, maybe shape the future of Europe's skies.